You won't believe what just went down in Toronto. The Blue Jays just won an arbitration case against Eric Lauer, and honestly, this whole situation is wild. Here's what happened, and trust me, this is going to change how we think about player value when guys take detours to play overseas. So Eric Lauer walks into arbitration wanting $5.75 million. Seems reasonable, right? The guy had made over $5 million before in arbitration with Milwaukee. But here's the twist that makes this whole thing fascinating. Between his time with the Brewers and joining Toronto, Lauer packed his bags and went to Korea. And apparently, that Korean vacation just cost him almost $2 million because the arbiter said, nope, you're getting $4 million instead. Think about that for a second. This is a guy who's proven he can pitch at the major league level. 30 years old, 7 years in the big leagues with San Diego, Milwaukee, and now Toronto. His career numbers aren't spectacular, but they're solid. 45 wins against 39 losses, 4.13 ERA, made 127 starts. And get this, he won 11 games for the Brewers back in 2022. That's a career high. This isn't some journeyman scraping by. But last season with Toronto, Lauer was actually really good. 9 wins, only 2 losses, 3.18 ERA. He was doing the swing roll thing for John Schneider, bouncing between starts and relief. Made 15 starts out of 28 total appearances, threw over 100 innings during the regular season. Then the postseason happens, and he steps up big time. 5 appearances, including 5 2/3 scoreless innings in the World Series. The World Series. This guy showed up when it mattered most. So why did the Blue Jays fight him on this? Because they could. Because Lauer made a choice to leave affiliated baseball and try his luck in Korea, and apparently arbiters think that's worth penalizing. The Blue Jays basically argued that his Korean stint meant he wasn't worth the upward trajectory in salary he was asking for, even though he'd already proven he could earn that money in MLB arbitration before. They won that argument. Here's where it gets even more interesting for Toronto's plans. Shane Bieber's hurt to start the year. That means Jose Barrios has to move into the starting rotation, which makes Lauer the top long man in the bullpen. This isn't some minor role. After what we saw last season with how Toronto used him, Lauer's going to be critical to their success, and they just saved almost $2 million on a guy they're going to lean on heavily. You've got to wonder how Lauer's feeling right now. He's going to make $4 million to play baseball, which is obviously life-changing money, but he thought his resume and performance earned him more. The arbiter disagreed. That's got to sting, especially knowing he'll be a crucial piece for a team that just went to the World Series. Speaking of that World Series run, Trey Yesavage threw his first bullpen of spring training on Wednesday. This kid is a serious frontrunner for American League Rookie of the Year after what he did last season. 1 games in the Division Series, 1 games in the Championship Series, 1 a game in the World Series. That's the kind of October performance that builds legends. Toronto's got something special with him. Meanwhile, there's some interesting news about Santiago Espinal floating around on social media. Former Blue Jays infielder spent time with Cincinnati, too. 6 years in the majors, made the All-Star team back in 2022 when he hit .267 with 7 homers and 51 RBIs. That was the year Toronto made the playoffs. Apparently, he's got some teams interested in signing him. Not a huge splash, but for a team needing infield depth, Espinal knows how to play multiple positions, and he's been there before. Let's shift gears to Philadelphia because the Nick Castellanos situation is absolutely bonkers. This guy has 1 year and $20 million left on his contract, and the Phillies don't want him anywhere near their spring training facility. They literally told him not to show up. There's no locker for him in Clearwater. That's cold-blooded business right there. The writing's been on the wall since October, when Philly made it clear they were either trading or releasing him. They went out and signed Adolis Garcia for right field, basically announcing to the world that Castellanos was done. And you can understand why. Castellanos was an all-star in 2023, but last year he was below replacement level. Hit .250 with a .294 on-base percentage and a .400 slugging percentage. His defense was the second worst in right field, according to Baseball Savant's metrics. For a 33-year-old making $20 million, that's not going to cut it. The expectation is this gets resolved in the next couple days, either through a trade where Philadelphia eats most of his salary or they just cut him loose. The Phillies have zero leverage here. Everyone knows they don't want him. They've made that painfully obvious. So any team that wants Castellanos knows they can get him cheap because Philly's desperate to move on. They're planning to roll with Garcia in right, Brandon Marsh in left, and rookie Justin Crawford in center. New era, new faces. And then there's Baltimore, finally making a move. Chris Bassitt signed a one-year deal worth $18.5 million. The guy's about to turn 37, spent the last 3 years in Toronto putting up a 3.89 ERA and throwing at least 170 innings every single season. That's exactly what Baltimore needed, reliability. The Orioles are banking on guys coming back from elbow surgery, Kyle Bradish, Trevor Rogers, Shane Baz. They needed someone who could eat innings and give them a chance to win every fifth day. Bassitt can do that. Plus, he was really good out of the bullpen during Toronto's playoff run, gave up just 1 earned run in 7 postseason appearances. The dude knows how to pitch in October, and Baltimore's building a team that wants to be there. Here's the thing about Bassitt that doesn't get talked about enough. He's pitched for Oakland, the Mets, Toronto, now Baltimore. He's seen it all, different coaching staffs, different teammates, different pressure situations. That experience matters. Dean Kremer moves to the 5th starter spot, and suddenly Baltimore's rotation looks a lot more stable than it did a month ago. The AL East is absolutely loaded right now. Over $900 million spent on free agents this winter, and that's with Tampa being their usual cheap selves and Boston making most of their moves through trades. This division sent teams to the World Series the last 2 years, and everyone's trying to keep up or catch up. What we're seeing is teams making calculated risks. Toronto betting that Lauer's worth $4 million, but not $6. Philadelphia cutting bait on Castellanos despite owing him $20 million. Baltimore giving Bassitt nearly $19 million for 1 year at age 37. Every decision is a gamble on production versus cost, performance versus age, potential versus track record. The season's about to start, and these roster moves are going to define who succeeds and who doesn't. Lauer's going to be motivated to prove he's worth more than $4 million. Bassitt's going to try showing he's still got it at 37. Castellanos is going to be playing somewhere trying to rebuild his value, and we're all going to watch it unfold.